Assalamu alaikum everyone. So this is the last session on non-commitment squint, which was supposed to be held today. It was held today, but unfortunately I forgot to record. So I'm recording this afterwards now. So last session we discussed the case of non-committant squint. We discussed some of the basics of squints. We discussed the symptoms, the different causes of non-committant squint, and then we discussed the workup which we have to do along with the management. So in last session, we left some questions unanswered, including the differences in upper motor neuron lesion, nerve palsy, paralytic squint, diplopias, and a very important question that is on cover and cover test. Why is secondary deviation greater than primary deviation? So we will answer those questions in today's session, inshallah. But before we move on to those questions, let us see a case first. So we have two cases. This is our first case of the day. Yes, so you can pause your video right now if you want. Take a good look at this picture, and then we'll discuss what is wrong and what is the diagnosis. So let's see what is wrong. What can we appreciate? क्या हम देख सकते हैं इसमें गड़बड़ है? This is the primary position in gaze, primary position of gaze, right? The person is looking straight forward. The person is being commanded to look straight forward. The right eye is looking straight ahead. There is no issue as far as I can see. However, there's something wrong with the left eye. What is wrong with the left eye? What do you think is wrong with the left eye, Babu?
The lid is drooping.
No, lid is drooping. That's correct. So the drooping lid, it's called ptosis. So the left eye has ptosis and the right eye does not have ptosis. So this person has unilateral ptosis in the left eye. All right. When this person is commanded to look upwards or to elevate their eyes, what happens then? The right eye is elevated, but if I were to draw a horizontal line, we can clearly see that the left eye is not as elevated as the right eye. So there's a problem with the elevation as well. And the ptosis is also visible on elevation. When this person is commanded to look downwards, what is the abnormality we note? The right eye is looking downwards. However, there's a failure to depress the left eye. So in elevation, in primary gaze and depression, there are problems of movement in the left eye. When this person is asked to leverward to look towards, say, left side, both the eyes are looking towards the left. We can appreciate that under the lid of the left eye. There is ptosis, but the eye underneath the cornea, it's looking towards the left. So this movement is relatively normal apart from the ptosis. That's all right. That's good. When this person is asked to look towards the right without moving their head, we can see that the right eye is able to look towards the right. However, the left eye is not able to adduct, meaning it is not able to move medially inwards. So what do you think is the problem? Which nerve do you think is affected in this person? Okay, so the third nerve, the oculomotor nerve, is being affected. So oculomotor nerve affect hoti hai. What are the different symptoms with which a patient can present? These are the different symptoms. We can clearly appreciate two of them in these pictures. First is ptosis. As you can see clearly, the left eye is ptotic, the eyelid is drooping. Secondly, this person has difficulty depressing, difficulty elevating, and difficulty adducting their left eye. So their left eye has movement difficulties. These are two important features of third nerve palsy. There is another important feature which is visible in these slides. Can you appreciate that? Take a moment and look at primary gaze and then look at depression and see if you can notice the other abnormality as well. So what is wrong with the left eye of this person?
The pupil is dilated.
The pupil is dilated. That is correct. If we closely look at this image over here, we can see that the right eye is constricted. However, the left eye is dilated. This is another important sign in third nerve palsy. Okay? again, in this picture, we can appreciate that the right pupil is constricted. However, the left pupil is still dilated. So this person has unilateral third nerve palsy. It may be complete, it may be incomplete. We'll discuss that further in the other case which we have to do today. So we were discussing squint, non-competent squint, and this is a patient of non-competent squint. Why? Because you can clearly see that the relationship between the eyes is different in different positions of gaze. Is primary gaze mein, the eyes have a different position relative to each other, and on dextroversion, on looking towards the right, there is a different position. So we discussed that non-competent squint has three types. It can be paralytic due to paralysis of the nerve, paralysis of the muscles. It can be kinetic due to overaction of the antagonist muscle, or it can be a restrictive squint. Restrictive squint contracture की वजह से हो सकता है, local mass हो सकता है, tumor हो सकता है. We also discussed one important test which we used to differentiate between paralytic squint and restrictive squint. What is that test? Do you remember that test? Okay. So how can we differentiate clinically between paralytic squint and restrictive squint? Which test can we perform?
By the force reduction test.
Yes, that is correct. We can perform the force reduction test. What happens in the force reduction test? We anesthetize the eye using topical alkane. उसके बाद हम forceps से gently इस आँख को पकड़ते हैं. We secure it with our forceps. Then we move it upwards and downwards and outwards and inwards. हम आँख को हिलाते हैं. So if the eye is able to freely move without any resistance, any tension at all, we can be certain that the squint is paralytic in nature due to muscle inactivity. लेकिन अगर हमें आँख को ऊपर नीचे दाएं बाएं अंदर बाहर करने में कोई issue face होता है, if you're feeling resistance, if there's tension or anything of the sort, then we can be certain that there is a restrictive or a kinetic element to the squint. So force reduction test is very important in determining whether the squint is paralytic or it is restrictive in nature. I hope that is clear to you. So let's come back to our initial doodles. So we discussed the different types of squint. हमने kinetic, restrictive, paralytic में difference देख लिया. That's good. हमें पता लग गया कि restrictive और kinetic में differentiate करने के लिए we perform the force reduction test. ऊपर वाले तीन को अलग करने के लिए नीचे वाले दो से we perform the force reduction test. How can we differentiate an upper motor neuron lesion from a lesion of the motor nucleus and the above two from a lesion of the nerve trunk? Nerves, क्योंकि आपको पता है कि upper motor neuron lesions motor cortex से निकलते हैं. Upper motor neurons, they travel down to the motor nucleus in the brainstem. Brainstem से nucleus in nerve trunk originate होती है. It traverses the intracranial cavity, the cranial vault, and some a little bit path outside the brain, the cranial vault, and then it innervates the muscles. So the nerve, the motor nucleus or the upper motor neuron, they can be affected. Is there any way we can clinically differentiate between these? क्या आपके ज़हन में कोई चीज़ ऐसी आ रही है? So,
no, sir, I do not.
No, that's good. That's good. ठीक है. So let's take a look. हमें पता है कि whenever we want to look at an object, for example, you're sitting in front of your laptop screen or a mobile screen or your tab screen right now. You're looking at it, right? आपके पीछे दीवार हो सकती है. There can be any object which is distant to you or far off away in any place. Okay, and there is one screen right in front of your eyes. So if you want to look away from your screen to that far off object, या आप कहीं किसी और चीज़ से फौरन अपना ध्यान स्क्रीन पे लाना चाहते हैं, तो the motor signals, the signals for this action, they initiate in the motor cortex, the prefrontal cortex. वहाँ से फिर upper motor neurons लेकर आते हैं नीचे lower motor neuron nucleus, motor nucleus के level पे, and afterward the appropriate signals from the upper motor neurons, they are sent to the nuclei of the third nerve, the fourth nerve, and the sixth nerve. फिर nerves के अंदर वो signals carry होते हैं, and finally they reach the extraocular muscles. And after reaching the extraocular muscles, the appropriate movement it occurs. ये पूरी किस्सा कहानी होती है. Now, when we are planning to look at an object, let's say आप किसी दूर और far off object को देख रहे हैं. and you want to divert your focus to your screen, which is present immediately right in front of you. Okay, it's obvious that the near response will happen. You will have convergence, you will have accommodation, and you will have pupillary constriction. ये तीन तो होंगी. But my question to you is, which one of your eyes will have greater motion? Let's say आप बिल्कुल आपके सामने, you're sitting in front of your laptop screen, and 6 meters in front of your behind that screen there's a wall, and you were focusing at that wall, and now you're focusing on the laptop screen. Both your eyes are converging. Which one of your eyes is converging more? Is it your left eye or is it your right eye? Take a guess, take a hint. कुछ भी. It can be
दोनों एक
anything.
जैसे नहीं होंगे.
दोनों एक जैसे होंगे.
होंगे.
Right? Exactly. दोनों एक जैसे होंगे. They will have equal movement. Okay, normal person, that is how it happens. Both the eyes, they will converge equally. The point being is, in our brain, we have learned binocular motion, binocular vision. And in order for binocular vision to happen, what we need that both the eyes, they work in a synchronous manner, in a conjugate manner, so that both the eyes, they look at the point of regard at the same time. तो जब हमारे ब्रेन में प्रीफ्रंटल कॉर्टेक्स में सिग्नल जाता है कि we want to look at this laptop screen, basically the signal is going from the brain in regards of direction of gaze. उसमें इस तरह सिग्नल नहीं आ रहे in layman term or completely, if I want to simplify it completely, इसमें इस तरह सिग्नल नहीं आ रहे कि lateral mactus एक दोनों medial recti को करना है. That is obviously that is happening. But the main thing which is happening, that both the eyes, both the eyes, they work together, first of all. And the second thing, that they have an equal amount of motion. तो क्या होगा? Both the eyes, they will equally converge. और gaze के हिसाब से ऊपर से signals आएंगे. तो इसकी example, what I'm trying to say, let me put it in another way. If this is a person who is looking straight on ahead, right? This person is looking straight on ahead. इसको भी हम छोड़ देते हैं. And if I ask them to look towards the right, upper motor neurons, they will send the signals to the lower motor neurons to look, the signal will be to look towards the right. This person will look towards right. अब वो signal इस तरह हो गया कि impulses will reach the right lateral rectus and they will reach the left lateral rectus at the same time, and hence the person will be able to look towards the right. So in brain, the directions are, or eye movements, they are stored or communicated in terms of gaze. एक gaze की direction में signals communicate आते हैं. तो इसकी हमारे लिए practical significance क्या है? Let's say that we have a person and we're performing their extraocular movement examination. We ask them to elevate their eyes, elevate कर लेते हैं. We ask them to depress, they depress their eyes. We ask them to leverage their eyes, to look towards the left, कर लेते हैं. However, when I ask this patient to look towards the right, he is unable to look towards the right with both his eyes. When I perform a forced action test on both the eyes, when a forced action test performed किया, the eyes were normal. Okay, there was no passive resistance and they were able to freely move. So what is wrong with this person? इनमें क्या मसला आ रहा है? Any hint, any guess? क्या हो सकता है? Basically, this person has an upper motor neuron lesion. This person has a conjugate gaze palsy. Focus on these terms. Conjugate gaze palsy. Gaze palsy का मतलब है कि in one direction of gaze there's a palsy or there's a inability or a paralysis to look towards that side. And conjugate, it means that both the eyes. So in this person, he has right conjugate palsy. The person, when I ask him to look towards the right, he cannot look towards the right. This is characteristic of upper motor neuron lesions. उनमें conjugate gaze palsy हो सकती है. If you're thinking about this, आपके ज़हन में सवाल आएगा कि why is this ज़रूरी है कि ये upper motor neuron lesion हो सकता है कि motor nucleus से nerve palsy भी हो. So let's dissect this further. इसको थोड़ा सा और हम गौर से देख लेते हैं. Now in this person, what is happening? He is unable to look towards the right when he is asked to look towards the right. अब right eye को right की तरफ move करना है तो कौन सा muscle काम करता है? It's the right lateral rectus, which is supplied by which nerve? It is supplied by the sixth nerve. Similarly, the left eye को right side पे move करने के लिए medial rectus काम करेगा, and that is supplied by the third nerve. Now, the third nerve has its own different supply compared to this nerve, compared to the sixth nerve, और इन दोनों का level भी different होता है आपस में. So the level is different, the location is different. So how is it possible कि एक nerve इसमें damage हो रही है और दूसरी nerve इसमें damage हो रही है? The thing is कि upper motor neuron से signals जो आने हैं ये movement cause करने के लिए, कौन सी movement? Medial rectus का action और lateral rectus का action. ये जो ऊपर से signals आ रहे हैं, these are defective, and that is why this patient is unable to look towards one side. That is why he had one-sided conjugate paralysis, and this is characteristic of cortical lesions, जो upper motor neuron lesions होती हैं. If this person had a lower motor neuron lesion, क्या होता? किसी एक आंख का मसला होता, या अगर एक ही लेवल में मसला होता तो the same nuclei of the cranial nerves they would have been affected on the right and the left side. For example, if this patient had right cranial nerves number 6 cranial nerve palsy, what would have happened? When I asked him to look towards right, only this eye would have moved, the other eye would not have moved. Okay, so by knowing कि हमें खुद पता लग जाएगा when we perform an examination, if the person is unable to look in one direction using both his eyes, it means that he has a conjugate paralysis, conjugate gaze palsy or paralysis, and the lesion is upper motor neuron, and it is most likely located in the cortex. Is this clear to you?
Yes.
Okay. So if it's not clear to anyone, if anyone sees it, so do let me know. I'll try to clarify it again. तो ये हमें पता लग गया पर मोटर न्यूरॉन. अब मोटर न्यूरॉन न्यूक्लियस आपको पता है, दे प्रेजेंट इन द ब्रेन स्टेम, और सारे थोड़ा बहुत लेवल्स पे ऊपर नीचे पड़े होते हैं. दे 1 or 2 levels above or below the other each other, right? One moment please. So yes, as we were saying, so that was the story behind upper motor neuron lesions. Now in motor nuclei, we know that motor nuclei are present in the brain stem. और ब्रेन स्टेम में कोई अगर लीजन होती है, it will affect the motor nucleus. It will also affect the surrounding nuclei as so the affecting on these it will affect the surrounding nuclei as well. अच्छा, sorry for the abrupt pause. Speech हो रहा था, so I get to take care of it. So as we were discussing that if a motor nucleus is being affected, it is present in the brain stem. अब ब्रेन स्टेम में मोटर न्यूक्लियस है, they are present together, and there are also other systems present over there. So if there is any damage to the motor nucleus, we will have a lower motor paralysis, जिसमें एक मसल तो काम नहीं करेगा, but instead we will have different symptoms as well. हो सकता है कि उसके साथ जो पड़ा motor nucleus of the same nerve of the opposite side that is being affected, वहाँ पर reticular systems पड़े होते हैं, तो the patient can be in coma. So you get the gist. There will be other neurological symptoms present as well. Okay. So by using clinical some history clues, performing generalized clinical examination, and by using the 4-section test, we can to a fair degree of confidence eliminate or rule out some causes of non-competent squint, and we can narrow out our differentials. So I hope this is clear to you. So we've answered 2 or 3 of these questions which we left for the last time. Now, one important question, and this is a very important question, it's about concept. So I want to take it slow. Let me know कुछ समझ नहीं आता, तो उससे हाँ हम कर लेंगे इसको discuss. We discussed last time that on the cover and cover test, standard deviation is greater than primary deviation in extroversion. ये क्या होती है? Let's take a brief revision of the Hirschberg's test and the flowchart which we discussed at the very beginning. So we discussed the Hirschberg's test, और हमने कहा था कि on Hirschberg's test, on shining light in the eyes, if there is a manifest squint, what do we do? we cover the fixing eye. अगर हमें नजर आ रहा है कि obvious squint है, we will cover the fixing eye, and after that we will see if the other eye it moves to take a fixation. So if you remember this image we discussed, this is the Hirschberg's test हम perform कर रहे हैं. The light is centered in this cornea, however it's not central. So this person has an obvious squint. This patient has a manifest squint. What we will do, we will cover the fixing eye. Which of these is the fixing eye in this patient? It's the right eye because that is looking straight at the light source. तो फिक्स करने के बाद हमने देखना है कि लेफ्ट आई का क्या होगा हिसाब किताब. तो उसके बारे में हम इसको डिस्कस करते हैं, क्योंकि ऐसी कंडीशन में इसमें ही मतलब इसी से ही रेलेवेंट है कॉन्सेप्ट प्राइमरी और सेकेंडरी डेविएशन का. So let's go back to the basics. These are some poorly drawn rules which are supposed to be eyes. So again, coming back to the example जो मैंने आपको start में दी थी कि you're focusing on an object which is 6 meters in behind your laptop or your device screen, and then you're immediately focusing on your screen. And I asked कि कौन सा ज़्यादा muscle move करेगा?
आवाज़ सही नहीं आ रही. आवाज़ नहीं आ रही कोई.
I'm sorry, रुको मैं adjust कर लेता हूँ. अच्छा, थैंक यू फॉर लेटिंग मी नो अबाउट द नॉइस. मसला होता है दोबारा तो बता देना, ठीक है. तो एज वी वर डिस्कसिंग द एग्जांपल कि व्हेन आई आस्क यू टू लुक टुवर्ड्स योर लैपटॉप स्क्रीन एंड आई आस्क कि कौन सी आंख ज्यादा कन्वर्ज कर रही है, इज इट द लेफ्ट आई और इज इट द राइट, एंड यू सेड बोथ आईज. नाउ दैट इज करेक्ट. बोथ द आईज दे हैव इक्वल अमाउंट ऑफ कन्वर्जेंस. बिल्कुल ठीक है. नाउ इफ आई आस्क यू टू लुक टू मूव, नॉट मूव योर हेड एंड लुक राइट or left or in any general direction, किसी भी object को आप देखो, तो the eyes they will have a motion, they will move, and the thing is that they will move equally. ऐसे नहीं होगा कि एक आंख आपकी ज्यादा देखेगी और एक आंख मूव होगी. No, this will not happen. Both the eyes they will have an equal amount of motion. And why do they have an equal amount of motion? Because they're receiving equal amount of innervation, they're receiving equal amount of impulses from the brain. ब्रेन से उन्हें जो कमांड आ रही है कि इस तरफ आपने देखना है, and the muscles which are the motor nuclei which are receiving those commands, they are receiving equal impulses from the brain. That is why motion will be equal in both the eyes, in normal eyes. अगर unequal होगा, एक आंख ज्यादा हिल जाएगी compared to the other, what will happen? What will happen? Squint तो होगा. Symptom क्या होगा? What will be the symptom? This patient will develop diplopia, double vision होगा, right? हमें पता है कि diplopia हो सकता है. तो उसीलिए नहीं होता because the brain knows कि if the eyes they move unequally, they will be diplopia. Basically, this movement of the eyes, this equal innervation and equal impulses, it is summarized in a law of ophthalmology. It is called Hering's law. This first law. हेरिंग्स लॉ क्या कहता है? बेसिकली हेरिंग्स लॉ ये कहता है कि जब भी किसी भी तरफ आप देख रहे हैं, इन विच एवर डायरेक्शन यू वांट टू लुक, उस डायरेक्शन में देखने के लिए जो मसल्स काम कर रहे हैं, दे विल रिसीव इक्वल इनर्वेशन एंड इक्वल इम्पल्सेस फ्रॉम द ब्रेन. फॉर एग्जांपल, इन दिस पेशेंट, इफ आई आस्क हिम टू लुक टुवर्ड्स द राइट, muscles which are looking towards the right, which are working to make this person look towards the right, they will be receiving equal impulses and equal innervation from the brain. This is Hering's law. ऐसे muscles जो एक डायरेक्शन में देखने के लिए काम करते हैं, they term yoke muscles. थोड़ी सी कंफ्यूजिंग हो जाता है जब आप बुक में पढ़ें, बट yoke muscles अगर कहीं ये टर्म यूज हुई है तो इट्स used for these muscles which act to make vision in one gaze possible. For example, when I ask this person to look towards the right, his right lateral rectus and his left medial rectus, they are yoke muscles because they are acting together. So this is Hering's law, which tells us कि ये yoke muscles, these muscles जो एक direction में देखने के लिए help कर रहे हैं, they are receiving equal innervation and equal impulses. इसी के complementary है, it is the second law, which is Sherrington's law. Sherrington's law क्या कहता है? If this person is looking towards the right, his right lateral rectus and his left medial rectus are working. ऐसी situation में इसका right medial rectus और इसका left lateral rectus, they will be relaxed. they will be inhibited, they will not be contracting. In general terms, whenever a yoke muscle is acting, its antagonist muscle will be inhibited. This is called Sherrington's law. ये तो लॉज हैं ऑप्थेल्मोलॉजी पे जो हमें याद रखने हैं because they help us understand what is primary deviation and what is secondary deviation. Are these laws clear to you?
Yes.
आपको समझ आ गई है तो हम आगे चलते हैं, राइट? तो अभी हम आगे चलते हैं. Let's see. Now, taking again the example of a cover and cover test, let's look at figure A. Figure A में what do we have? हम पहले देख लेते हैं हो क्या रहा है. So this is an object of regard or an object which we're seeing. It has been termed F. That is F, the object. These are two eyes. One is the right eye and one is the left eye. जो F है, it is the fovea. ये हमें समझ आ रही है. Now in this image we can appreciate in image A that the left eye is looking directly of the object F. हमें कैसे पता लग रहा है कि directly उस पे देख रहा है? Because we see that the light rays from the object, they pass through the center of the cornea, and after passing through the center of the cornea, they fall directly on the fovea. So the left eye is fixing on the object F. However, if I look at the right eye, अगर मैं वही line draw करूँ जो fovea से pass कर रही है, this line to be exact, this line which passes through the fovea in the center of the cornea, it is not looking directly at the object. It's looking somewhat inwards. और जो object F है, उसकी जो light rays हैं, वो retina पे एक और point पे fall कर रही हैं. That point has been termed F apostrophe और F naught, आप कुछ भी कह रहे हैं इसको, ठीक है? It's a different point from the fovea. So the left eye is a fixing eye, and the right eye is a deviating eye. This is basically somewhat comparable to this image which we discussed at the start. इसी में ही है, इसी को हम इसी की representation कर रहे हैं कि one eye is fixing और जो fix eye है, fix कर रही है, उसमें light rays बिल्कुल fovea fall कर रही हैं, while the other eye is deviating, उसमें fovea पर fall नहीं कर रही, उस पे किसी और point पे fall कर रही है, और visual axis दोनों आंखों के they are not in line. So this person whose diagram I just showed you, the left eye is the fixing eye and the right eye is deviating. The right eye जितने एंगल से इस कंडीशन में इस सूरत-ए-हाल में deviate कर रही है, this is called the primary deviation. The angle by which the right eye, the deviating eye, the angle of deviation of the squinting eye when the normal eye is fixing, that is called the primary angle. So in this case, what is the primary angle? P is the primary angle. Visual axis deviating eye का ये है, जबकि light rays जो इस objects हैं वो इस angle पे fall कर रही हैं, तो ये दोनों axis जो हैं एक दूसरे से मिल रहे हैं at an angle, and that angle is P. This is the primary deviation. It tells us कि इतने angle deviated है, और अगर हम इतने angle degrees की correction कर दें तो visual axis जो है वो फिर इस पर फोकस कर जाएगा और इसकी लाइट रेज फोबिया पर फॉल कर जाएंगी. इस प्राइमरी डिविएशन क्लियर टू यू?
Yes.
तो अब हमें समझ आ गई कि प्राइमरी डिविएशन क्या होती है. दिस वाज प्राइमरी डिविएशन. अब कवर एंड कवर टेस्ट का अगला स्टेप क्या होता है? वी कवर द फिक्सिंग आई. व्हिच इज द फिक्सिंग आई इन दिस पर्सन? इट्स द लेफ्ट आई. इतना बड़ा लिखा हुआ है, बट इट्स नो रॉकेट साइंस. तो but थोड़ा सा इसमें हम रिवाइज कर लेते हैं. This person has left fixing eye and the right is deviating. The right is deviating inwards comparatively. Yeah? So what does this person have in the right eye? Is it an exotropia or is it an esotropia?
Esotropia.
Esotropia, right? It's an esotropia. So this person has a manifest squint. What do? We cover the fixing eye. और आपको पता है जब हम कवर करते हैं फिक्सिंग आई को, when we cover the fixing eye, what happens? The other eye, it moves to take fixation. The deviating eye, right eye जो पहले deviate कर रही थी, अब वो object पर fix कर रही है. अब होता ये, हमने हेरिंग्स लॉ पढ़ा है. हेरिंग्स लॉ कहता है कि जब एक आंख का अकेले मोशन नहीं हो सकता. अगर एक आंख हिल रही है तो उसी के बराबर दूसरी आंख भी हिलेगी. Why? Because they're receiving equal impulses, they're receiving equal innervation. So as the right eye, it moves outwards or towards this side to take up fixation. The left eye also moves towards this side. दोनों आंखें right side पे, हमारी right side पे, और towards this side they're moving. तो हम appreciate कह सकते हैं इस diagram में. If we compare the position of the left eye in figure B, the left eye is more inwards. तो अब इस condition में the originally deviating eye is fixing, the originally normal eye is under cover, and the originally normal eye जो शुरू में normal थी, जो शुरू में fix कर रही थी, वो इस वक्त deviated है. So the deviation of the normal eye under cover when the deviating or the squinting eye is fixing at the object of regard, it is called secondary deviation. यानी कि जब हम एक कवर टेस्ट परफॉर्म करते हैं और हम फिक्सिंग और कवर कर देते हैं, तो फिक्सिंग आई जो स्टार्ट में फिक्सिंग थी, जो भी कवर के नीचे है, उसकी जो डिविएशन है, इट इज कॉल्ड द सेकेंडरी डिविएशन. क्या आपको ये बात समझ आ गई है? हैव यू अंडरस्टूड दिस? क्या नहीं समझ आई तो लेट मी नो इन द कमेंट्स. सो दिस वाज प्राइमरी एंड सेकेंडरी डिविएशन. Now we know that in comitant squint, which is the example in this figure, there is nothing wrong with the output pathway. There is something wrong with the sensory pathway. We've been discussing this concept since the start of squint. So since the output pathway is normal, equal innervation is being received by the eyes. Innervation is okay, it's normal. The primary deviation will be equal to the secondary deviation. The deviation of the right eye when the normal eye is fixing, it will be equal to the deviation of the normal eye when the squinting eye is fixing. These two deviations, they will be equal. However, in non-comitant squint, this is not the case. Why? Let's see. So let's suppose that this person has a right lateral rectus palsy. I write it down as LR palsy. Okay, this person has a right lateral rectus palsy. तो क्या होगा? When I ask this person to look towards the right, his left eye will be able to look towards the right. However, his right eye will not have any motion. ठीक है, तो let's draw an object. हम थोड़ा सा हमारे लिए easy हो जाएगा. Let's say the object is present over here. It's actually present to the right side, बिल्कुल patient की दाईं तरफ है, without moving his head. So, but for our sake, for discussion sake, थोड़ा सा नीचे इसको draw कर रहा हूँ. So when I ask this person to look towards this object, which is present immediately towards his right, this object, right? His left eye moves inwards. However, his right eye does not move. So the left eye is the fixing eye in this position, and the right eye is deviating eye. Why? Because the object is regard is present over here, and only the left eye is fixing. So we have a condition of a primary deviation. The squinting eye, right eye, which is unable to move, it is under primary deviation. अब इस condition में हम perform करेंगे एक cover uncover test. What we will do? We will cover the fixing eye. Fixing eye इस position में कौन सी है? Again, this person is looking towards the right. The left eye is able to look towards it. The right eye is not. So the left eye is the fixing eye. We will cover the fixing eye of this patient. हमने फिक्सिंग आई को कवर कर देना है. What will happen in the fixing eye? या क्या होगा नॉर्मली हमें पता है कि जब एक कॉमिटेंट स्क्विंट होती है, क्या होता है? The deviating eye, it moves to take a fixation. और deviating eye जब fixation take करने के लिए मूव करती है, तो the other eye has a relative motion as well. Okay, दोनों आपको पता है कि एक आंख अकेले तो मूव नहीं कर सकती. Both the eyes they will receive equal impulses and equal innervation. Now in this patient, he is not able to move his eye even though he is signaling. इस patient को diplopia हो रहा था, पहले तो हो रहा था ना, when he was not covering, but he was able to focus with his left eye. Now he is not able to look at the object, and he knows he is not able to look at the object. उनको object नजर नहीं आ रहा. हम उन्हें कह रहे हैं कि आप इस object को देखें, अपनी आंखें लगाएं. What will happen? he will consciously make an effort कि मैंने right देखना है. His upper motor neurons will send signal to the motor nuclei of both the sides. Motor nuclei कौन से? Right lateral rectus का motor nucleus और left medial rectus का, यानी कि 6th और 3rd nerve के respective fibers को. उन fibers से फिर signal आएंगे in eyes तक. अब मसला ये है कि right lateral rectus is paralyzed, यानी कि आया मोटर न्यूक्लियस में मसला है या नर्व में मसला है. तो ब्रेन ने ऊपर से तो इम्पल्सेस इक्वली भेजने हैं, इम्पल्सेस ऊपर से इक्वली आ रहे हैं, सर्किटरी में एंड पे थोड़ा मसला है और राइट साइड पे है. तो एज दिस पर्सन हिज ब्रेन विल सेंड डाउन इम्पल्सेस टू दीज नर्व्स, टू दीज मोटर न्यूक्लियाई. व्हाट विल हैपन? he will the upper motor neurons will send signals to look towards right. Signals right lateral rectus तक पहुंची मतलब right motor nucleus में आ सकते हैं, आगे नहीं पहुंच पाएंगे right rectus तक क्योंकि पैरालिसिस है, नर्व ट्रंक की लीजन हुई भी है. लेकिन उसके जो बराबर सिग्नल्स दूसरे योक मसल को जा रहे थे, मसल which is acting in this direction, the medial rectus, उसको तो सिग्नल्स पहुंच रहे हैं. एक तरफ सिग्नल पहुंच रहे हैं, दूसरी तरफ सिग्नल नहीं पहुंच रहे. What will happen? This eye undercover, the normal fixating eye, it will move even further. क्योंकि ब्रेन तो एक कॉन्शियस अटेम्प्ट कर रहा है ना मैं उस ऑब्जेक्ट को देखूं, तो राइट आई फिर भी मूव नहीं कर रही. he will again try to make an even further conscious attempt to look towards the right side. उसको भी और कोशिश करेगा कि राइट साइड पे देखें, but this eye is not able to move because the nerve trunk has a lesion. Impulses ऊपर से दोनों तरफ आ रहे हैं, तो लेफ्ट आई विल मूव इनवर्ड्स अगेन. तो लेफ्ट आई तो वैसे फिक्सिंग आई थी ना, इट वाज द नॉर्मल आई, इट वाज द फिक्सिंग आई. इट इज नाउ अंडर कवर एंड द डिविएटिंग आई इज नाउ ट्राइंग टू फिक्स, हाउएवर इट इज नॉट एबल टू फिक्स. सो इन दिस कंडीशन, when the fixing eye is under cover and it is not able to fix, this is the secondary deviation and it is greater than primary deviation. Why it is greater? Because the impulses, they are from the upper motor neuron or motor cortex, they are coming equally to both sides. However, they are not reaching the lateral rectus, they are reaching the medial rectus, और उस वजह से medial rectus inward move कर रहा है ज़्यादा. तो जब हमने बात की secondary deviation ज़्यादा होती है primary deviation से, what will happen when I remove this cover from the patient's eyes? क्या होगा? Think about it, pause the video, सोचें इस बारे में. So what will actually happen? When I remove the cover, this eye will make a small recovery movement inwards, ताकि ये दोबारा फिक्सेशन ले सके, क्योंकि ये तो फिक्सेशन नहीं ले सकती थी और जो ओवर एक्टिविटी हो गई थी उसकी वजह से ज़्यादा मीडियली चली गई थी. So it moves, it does a small corrective movement so that it can again take a fixation. This is how we can tell on clinical examination if the secondary deviation is greater than primary deviation. ठीक है, तो if this concept is not clear to you, do let me know. हम इसको दोबारा टेस्ट वाले दिन डिस्कस कर लेंगे जब हम MCQs की डिस्कशन करेंगे या दोबारा. तो अगेन प्राइमरी डिविएशन आपको पता होनी चाहिए क्या है, सेकेंडरी डिविएशन आपको पता होनी चाहिए क्या है. सेकेंडरी डिविएशन क्यों बड़ी होती है? बिकॉज ऑफ हेरिंग्स लॉ. हेरिंग्स लॉ टेल्स अस दैट the innervation or the impulses coming down from the motor cortex, they are equal और नीचे बराबर जाते हैं दोनों आंखों में. अब एक आंख का जो फाइनल आउटपुट पाथवे है सर्किट द नर्व ट्रंक, अगर वो कट जाए तो उस आंख में मोशन नहीं होगा, लेकिन उसके बराबर वाली आंख में जिसमें सारा कुछ नॉर्मल है उसमें तो मोशन होगा. और उस एक्सेसिव मोशन की वजह से अंडर कवर सेकेंडरी डिविएशन ज़्यादा होगी. कवर रिमूव करेंगे तो ये आंख क्योंकि ज़्यादा डिविएट हुई होगी, इसलिए हम कहेंगे कि वापस इसे फिक्स करें. दिस इज द गुड आई, ही विल फिक्स यूजिंग दिस आई. This eye will make a small recovery movement outwards. So this is secondary deviation. That was primary deviation, and now we know why secondary deviation is greater than primary deviation in non-comitant squint, because there is a problem with the output pathway. Primary deviation और secondary deviation equal होते हैं non-comitant squint, comitant squint में, tropias में. Why? Because there is nothing wrong with the output pathway. There's nothing wrong with the innervation. The only thing which is wrong is the sensory input. Sensory pathway में जो initial relationship है वो abnormal है. उसके बाद जो output जा रहा है दोनों को वो फिर भी बराबर जा रहा है. So Hering's law is applicable in both cases. Now you know why this happens. So this was a very important discussion which we left, and that was the why standard deviation is greater than sorry, it's not standard deviation, secondary deviation is greater than. This was one of the important questions which we left. I'm sorry, I don't have history in words for dot test. आप इनको kindly book से देख लीजिएगा खुद भी. They're not इतनी इसमें science नहीं है और high yield नहीं है, आपको याद करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. But do remember to take a look at these. और आपको इतना पता होना चाहिए कि Hascreen और words for dot हम non-competent squint के assessment use करते हैं. So before we finish with this session, let's take a look at our final case of fatigue. थोड़ा सा इसको मैं adjust कर लूँ. Take a look at this patient. Think about it, brainstorm. What do you think is wrong? Pause your video, and I'll tell the answers. So, if you look closely, let's examine everything systemically, right? This is the primary position of gaze. Now, in primary position of gaze, what can I appreciate in this resolution? His right eye is drooping, the lid is drooping, the left eye's lid is also drooping. So this patient has bilateral ptosis. That's the most important thing. The second is that the primary gaze में तो person को बिल्कुल सीधा देखना चाहिए ना at the object of regard. The left eye is deviated somewhat outwards and the right eye is also deviated outwards. So on primary gaze, the outward eyes are deviated outwards. Elevation पर क्या है? I cannot appreciate any significant elevation. Depression पर क्या होता है? Depression पर क्या है? I cannot appreciate any significant depression in the left eye. However, the right eye is downward and outward. Depression नहीं है, इसमें dextro depression हो रही है. So if I compare it to dextro depression at the same time, they look the same. Left eye is not able to move inwards and downwards. Similarly, when I ask the patient levo depress, the left eye does move leftwards, however, it is unable to go downwards. The right eye moves outwards, but it is not able to move inwards and downwards. It is not able to adduct and depress. So, काफी ज़्यादा मसले हैं आपको समझ आ रही है. So let's take a look at the horizontal case. When I ask this patient to look towards the left eye तो left में देख रही है. However, the right eye is not able to adduct. अब मैं dextro version देख लेता हूँ. In dextro version, the right eye is able to look towards the right. It is abducting. However, the left eye, it is not adducting. So there's a problem with adduction. And on dextro elevation and levo elevation, as you can appreciate that there is no significant elevation. So in short, let's review. This patient has bilateral ptosis, and apart from what sixth nerve function, lateral rectus function, क्योंकि ये कान बाहर देख रही है या बाहर देख रही है, तो lateral recti they seem to be working fine. And other than that, I don't think that any other motion in the eyes is normal. So what is our diagnosis? This patient has bilateral third nerve palsy. And this patient has bilateral third nerve palsy. So this was another case which we discussed. We've discussed a lot of cases, right? Squint में आपने जो चीजें important हैं आपके लिए वो यही है that you know the different extraocular movements. किस movement में किसका मसला आ रहा है, and you can only know that if you know the extraocular muscles. You must know how to work up a patient of squint. कौन से आपने important tests कराने, examinations करवाने हैं. These four we've been repeating them throughout squint. ये वाले जो हैं they are somewhat specific for this non-competent squint. ये आपने कराने हैं and how you need to manage a squint. These are the three important principles of management. Okay, these things are important. Do give them a read in your book. If you do not understand anything, do let me know. I'll be happy to answer your questions. That being said, we have finished with squint. Take care, everyone. Allah Hafiz.